Happy hump day, you damn Detroit D-Gens. What is going on here today? But, man, we got a good show here for you. As you see, I got my man Beastie here. But today we are going to talk about there's some boobs in the news, for one. Then we saw a bad beat. That was just a terrible beat. The Sparties couldn't get it done last night. Michigan squeaked one out, and the Pistons got blown out. But we got some other stuff to talk about here today. We got some NBA. We got some NHL to go through. But before we get to that, let's bring Beastie in here. What's going on here today, my friend?
Not much, and I was wondering if I should bring this up on the broadcast or tell you personally. It's nothing crazy, but the last week or so, I just haven't felt like myself, and I don't know what it is. After Championship Sunday, my mood is kind of, you probably don't see it on this quick broadcast or when we talk and text. Not saying I've been down in the dumps or bummed out. I just feel like blah, you know what I mean? I feel meh. And is it because it's, the beginning of February in Detroit, it's cold, it's kind of that, things going on. And I don't know what it is. I would have thought here, I mean, maybe you can tell me, after the long, arduous content schedule of NFL football, everything's got to be on the money, especially when you're doing DFS and betting stuff. That's all gone away. I've been able to be in peace and at home, go to bed early, wake up late, and I'm still not where I want to be. And it's just a weird thing. I'm just trying to get over the hump in a way, or just realizing, what the heck do I have to do? Do I do better work when I'm just with feet to the fire, when I'm go? Because right now I haven't really had a thing to do, and I thought I was enjoying it, but I wake up and I'm like, I don't know, just lay around a little bit more. So maybe my body's getting used to all the inactivity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you get inactive sometimes, and then you kind of get lazy. But you know what I think it is, BC? It was like today. I think I felt a little different. I walked outside, and the sun was shining. You could feel it, like it was warm, and you thought to yourself, "Oh, okay." And that to me instantly perks up my mood. I mean, I don't know about you, but when it's like gloomy and just gray outside, like we get in these times of the year, the winter, it's like we don't see the sun that often. But hey, today it's glaring. It's nice outside. You can hear everything dripping. Everything's melting. So hey, we're getting one step closer to spring, and hopefully, Beastie, we can get some baseball on time. It's not sounding good, but I did hear Rob Manfred resign today. So I heard the commissioner
that I did not hear.
From what I understand, I thought I could be wrong. Maybe I got fooled on the Twitter, but I thought I saw he was planning to step down. I could be wrong. Maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part, because I think he's been not very good for baseball. But either way, Beastie, I did mention here we got some boobs in the news. So I'm going to assume here that gets every guy's attention. Who boobs? Who don't like boobs? We all like boobs. But anyway, go check Adidas's Twitter out. They got a pretty controversial ad going on. I wanted to put it up, but I got the kibosh from the boss man. But they got 25 pair of naked boobs on an ad, and they say that they're going to make a sports bra here for everybody. They literally all shapes, sizes, everything on there. I mean, now we're not talking 25 of the best of the models' boobs. I mean, we're talking 25 everyday people's boobs. I mean, there could even be some man boobs in there. I didn't really look too hard, but either way, it was just kind of weird to see that on such a company's platform to see such a thing. But I mean, I guess this world's changing, Beastie, crazier and quicker than we ever realized. But I guess now it's okay to put 25 boobs on an ad and tweet it out. So we'll see. Maybe that makes the Super Bowl commercials. Who knows, Beastie? But man, quite interesting, that's for sure, when you're flipping through Twitter and you see this collage of 25 pairs of boobs and you realize this is from Adidas. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So what do you think of
the
that?
First thing I thought of, I mean, if I'm way off here, you can tell me, but the first thing I thought of, and I'd like to think Spence or Easy, whoever's producing today, is going to feel the exact same way. We're always in lockstep here. Reminds me of that episode of Seinfeld where Kramer and George's dad, Frank, they wanted to get together and make a bra for a man. And I believe Kramer wanted to call it the man's ear, and then George's dad, Frank, wanted to call it the bro's ear or the bro's ear or something like that, or the bro, just the bro. For women, it's called the bra. For the men, it's called the bro. And they got back and forth fighting, and they never really produced anything because they couldn't agree on a name. So now Adidas, I would like to think they can just get a hold of, what's the guy's name? Kyle Richards, something like that, the guy who played Kramer. I'm sure he'd do a spot. He hasn't been around in a long time, but this is news. This is news to me. And as soon as we're done with this broadcast, I'm just going to go check it out for scientific purposes, right? For broadcasting intel. NFL. It's not like I'm going to enjoy it, Scott. I'm just going to go to Adidas and check it out just for my personal, kind of stats here when I write everything down.
I mean, if you wanted to give him a rate scale 1 to 10, I mean, we could always do that. I was kind of hoping we could have done that on the show, but I guess that's just frowned upon. We can't talk about nakedness on the show, but hey, it's all fun and games. I thought it'd be fun to bring up. I mean, go ahead and check that picture out, and maybe if you guys want, maybe we'll put up a tweet. We can have a little vote which one we liked. I mean, I'm all game for that. That's always fun, but.
Well, I want to ask you a question really quick to anybody who's watching this. What's worse, showing a picture of boobs or firing up a blunt live on a broadcast? Because both seem to be neck and neck here. But you can fire up a blunt from the weed sponsor, but you can't show some boobies from an advertisement here. So I don't know what the FCC is about nowadays.
Maybe Canada, you could show some boobs. Aren't you allowed to walk around and get some boobs? In Canada, I think you're allowed to show your tits in Canada, but I don't think you're allowed to walk around the streets here with your boobs hanging out. But you can walk around here in Michigan and smoke a fatty. So, I mean, hey, either way, fun to talk about. But hey, we gotta show some love to our sponsors there, Beastie. That's why yes. We did that. But one thing though, I'll talk about that's not getting some love is the Kentucky Wildcats basketball team on their campus today, Beastie. I don't know if you saw, we talk about bad beats once in a while. I know, SVP, he's got his bad beat segment, and we're not trying to, duplicate that or steal his bit here. But, I mean, when there's something ridiculous, we got to bring it up. I mean, last night here, Spencer, if you could pull it up here, Kentucky the spread's 11. Kentucky's got the ball. They're up 10. You can see here, this guy here throws a pass. Look here, wide open, 4 seconds. He stops, pulls back. No, I'm not going to score. And then with no time, he dunks it, Beastie. You want to talk about, I mean, if this was your last leg of your parlay and you saw this actually happen, and you could see Calipari over there, he's like, shoot it. I'm sure damn well they all knew what was going on there. And boy, did Twitter light up, Beastie, with that one there. Of course, all the conspiracy guys came out, everything else. But man, what a disaster. It's just not a good look when sports betting is so prominent for something like that to happen, especially in these times. But man, Beastie, what do you think, man? If you had that as your last leg of your parlay and you saw that's how you lost, I mean, is your remote going through the floor or what?
Yeah, I'd be furious. Let's just call it what it is. That is a very bad beat. And you can see the guy gets the ball under the hoop, and then he realistically, he looks at the rim. Should I put it in? Should I dunk it? He turns around just to dribble out the rest of the time. And I don't know if you can rewind that, what Calipari was doing. Was he saying, dunk it, or score? I didn't get to see his sign. If he was saying no, or yes. So to me, it's a really bad beat. And again, every time you gamble, you're taking a risk. And we can see it back here. I was going to jump. No, I turn around. Calipari is just pointing up like this. He was kind of doing the Babe Ruth, calling his shot. He's calling the shot. It looks
like he's calling to shoot it. Yeah,
I know he is. And so the kid under the rim, I'll turn around. Coach says, hang it, put it up. Turn around. Nobody's guarding him. Boom, dunks it. And I would imagine that the basket did not count, right? That's why we're here today, because the lights on the backboard, it was all lit up that the 2 points didn't count. But again, we're talking seconds, where as soon as he got the ball, if he dunked it, boom, your parlay hits. Or if you had $500 on this game, I mean, you're upset here. And it's not, you're right. It's not a good look. It's a bad beat after what we've seen so far in the NFL playoffs here. And a lot of folks, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but we've dabbled into this a little bit here, is professional football. Is that kind of scripted? And more folks are coming out and sharing stories, personal betting stories, or someone who was in the locker room or on the field, just even moving the chains here. So this is wild here, and it's a bad beat. And I know you've mentioned that old NBA referee who actually he served jail time, if I'm not mistaken, because he was shaving points and calling timeouts and fouls that weren't necessary here. So it's a bad beat, the worst beat I've seen so far this season. Well, aside from maybe the Tampa Bay and the Rams game now. So I feel like, I mean, if I'm wrong here, anybody in the comments, let me know, or even you, Scott. I feel like we're on a collision course here in terms of things being scripted to a certain extent, like WWE, entertainment, that's what they call it, sports entertainment, and football, basketball, all these sports are, they're left unscripted. That's the beauty of it. Al Michaels says it all the time. You bet on player A and player B hits, team A, team B, and you go from there here. But I feel like sooner rather than later, maybe we're on a slow roll, or the slow track here, to where it ends. We pull up to the station and some folks are going to come out and, head coaches of football teams or players in basketball say, yeah, I was asked to shave points, or we were told to, don't get that first down because we had someone in our ear, major bets, major points on this way. But again, I want to be the first one to say it. I think as it stands right now, we're on a collision course where something's going to blow the lid off this thing. And it may not be Sunday on the Super Bowl. It may not be next season, but somewhere down the line here, something's going to come out where, yes, some of these sports are scripted, certain games, certain seasons. So, I just have this weird feeling in the pit of my stomach here. And I've learned to trust that, betting and broadcasting and playing DFS. So something's telling me here, it's not going to be a good look. And we're going to look back at all this stuff and it's going to be a bad beat. You ever watched a movie like Fight Club or The Sixth Sense, where you watched it for the first time through and the ending was like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. And once you know the ending, you go back and rewatch the movie and there's little things that happen. You're like, holy smokes, I knew it all along.
Yeah, I mean, BC, for me, the scripted part, we all have sports bettors said, man, this shit's fixed or whatever else at time, when we get beat by something that looks stupid or silly, maybe a bad decision. But to me, I've always just kind of held, the notion that there'd be too many people involved. There's too many people that would say something. Now, the owners I thought it was interesting what come out with the Brian Flores thing, to where he's saying he's being paid for losses. Now, that's a different story, like the coaches calling plays and stuff like that. I mean, I think that would be easier to kind of mask than keeping these players. So, because really these coaches are in the good old boy network with these owners, and there's a lot to be. That's why I said, that was a huge allegation that Brian Flores put up about the him being paid for losses and Hugh Jackson coming out. We saw how fast the NFL tried to sweep that under the rug and squash that. And we saw, the Browns' reaction to Hugh Jackson. It was not pleasant. So they shot that right down. I think that is something, though, Beastie, as sports betting does over time here become more and more relevant in all these different states. It's bound to happen. Temptation is there for everybody. We're going to probably see, these college kids maybe, because now, you can bet on your phone and you can be inside the arena and people can bet, live bet, all kinds of silly stuff. You don't know what's going on, what's being said. And some of these players actually leave themselves accessible at halftime. They're looking at their Twitters, they're looking at stuff. So you're right. At some point, I'm sure something will come out similar to what happened with the NBA. Hopefully not. But just use your common sense. You almost would feel as if the chances of something like that happening have to be, something that needs to be thought about. But we'll see, Beastie. Hopefully, we keep it clean, just stuff like that does kind of bring things to light. And it does make people wonder, what is happening there. But, though, for me, like, yeah, exactly. So for me, though, Beastie, with that there, like, if he would have dunked it, they would have won. I think, like, if it was the other way where maybe they would have lost or something like that, like I don't know. It's like, to me, you would think all his friends and everybody at Kentucky would have bet on Kentucky. So, like, why wouldn't he want all his friends? If he's walking in campus today and I bet on Kentucky, I probably would have said, dude, you couldn't have dunked the damn ball with 4 seconds left. Like, come on, man. Cost me the spread. I'm sure something like that went down. But crazy, crazy, crazy stuff here. But, Beastie, before we get too far, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsor of the show, and that is at Better Rate Mortgage. Better Rate Mortgage, family is more than blood. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family, actually better. Better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit mybetterrate.com or call 248-480-4467 today. But Beastie, we saw last night too, real quick, with our local teams on the hardwood. Michigan squeaked one out barely, ended up getting a victory. But man, the Sparties haven't been all doing too well here recently. He's just struggling a little bit. Truthfully, I think this is like a Tom Izzo MO thing. Like, they struggle a little bit, they lose a little bit in the conference, and then they're going to end up coming back strong. Christie, I think he's good. He's a top 10, top 15 talent in the NBA draft, I believe. So, you're looking at 70 to 62 loss to Wisconsin. Wisconsin's still a decent team, but I think the Sparties should be okay as far as getting into the NCAA tournament. Now, Michigan, on the other hand, needs to continue to win. But the other thing we saw in the hardwood last night, the Pistons, BC, they got their ass kicked. I mean, they ended up getting smoked. Luka still scored 33 points in a blowout, which a lot of times, these guys don't see, the end of the game, which, we were kind of thinking, hey, if there's a blowout, maybe it gets pulled, and then we don't see, him getting any time in the fourth quarter. But that didn't end up working out for us. But I don't know, BC, did you catch any of these three games? I caught a little bit of the Michigan State game. I had a bet on it last night. I did recommend betting on Sparties. Just didn't work out all that well. But I watched a little bit of Sparties, flipped over to Michigan. Seemed like it was kind of like a boring game. And then I pulled a Beastie last night and actually fell asleep a little early last night. Didn't stay up doing my normal thing, that I'm usually up till 11, midnight, 1 in the morning. But yesterday, yeah, that's exactly it there, Spencer. I need to get some beer sometime to make me go to sleep. But either way, did you catch any of these games last night, Beastie?
The tail end of every one of them, and then sure, like last night I was telling you before we started to broadcast here, I love to play NHL DFS, that's no secret, but I love like express slates or after hours slate. After hours, I believe locked at like 9 o'clock yesterday, so I set an alarm because I get in bed, not kidding, grown man, I get in bed at like 8:30, 8:45, and some nights like last night, thank the Lord, I put my alarm on because 10 to 9, oh yeah, I got to edit my lines really quick, so I got back up, I edited my lines, and while I was doing that, leading up to lock, just making sure I had everything nice and tight, I turned on the Pistons game, and then I checked the score on Michigan and Michigan State here. And I know yesterday we both agreed on it. I'm not saying that I was, influenced by what you had to say about Michigan State, but to be honest with you, I thought we had a nice good MO for that game. We had some good thoughts and a good trail here of the fact that Michigan State was going to win this one. It's what Tom Izzo does, right? Just when you think they're down and out, boom, they get on a run, they just glide right into the NCAA tournament. And when you look back through Michigan State and Tom Izzo, they're basically a shoo-in for the Elite Eight. And how many times have they made the Final Four? So to me, they're playing Wisconsin. It's a tough school. It's a Big Ten kind of game, fundamentally sound, which I say all the time, but certain teams are like that. Wisconsin is one of them, and they lost. They lost by, what is it, 8 points. Yeah, the final was 70-82. And personally, I don't know how not prepared, but I don't know how much I should give away in terms of my opinions to this game because I only watched like the last 3 or 4 minutes of this one, and I don't think that would be a good move to give my opinion on the game having only watched the last few minutes of the game. But what I saw when I was watching it, the last like 4 or 5 minutes of the game, Michigan State, they looked flat in a way, and their poor 3-point shooting, that was awful. And I've noticed as of late, not only in the NBA but also in college football, even watching women's college football, the first look is not to move the ball around and not to get in underneath into those high percentage shots. The first look of all these kids, men and women, NBA, WNBA, the first look is always to shoot the 3-pointer. They make shots from the logo, right? They want to, step way out and sink the shot here because again, that's where all the glory is. I mean, if you have if you have, let's say 14 points and they're all layups, they're all under the rim, you turn, hook shot, however you want to do it. That's not as sexy as, oh, this guy put up 12 points on 4 3-pointers and they were all from half court. That's what makes the news. So in a way, if I'm way off base here, you can let me know. But sometimes these kids, and not so much in the NBA, but these kids in college basketball, in today's day and age of social media, everything, boom, is there for the taking. They'd rather do that. They'd rather shoot horribly from the 3-point line and make 3 out of 10 shots than go inside and do it that way here. So, as you said, the 3-point shooting did Michigan State in there, and that's not how Michigan State plays basketball. Some teams are more, apt to doing so. They have what they can do on the outside and they leave it at that. But Michigan State is better from, 10, 12 feet, something like that, even closer. And when they were just awful with the 3 points and they kept doing it, and here we are, they lost by 8 points to Wisconsin here. So to me, it's back to the drawing board. And if there's any coach in college football, whether it's, basketball, football, hockey, who do I trust the most? It's Izzo. This guy is, he's got it going on. He has for years. He's an institution, as I said, but Michigan State needs to go back to the drawing board, put it together, and see what we got there. I would like to think, these kids are in college and Izzo is Izzo. He's going to be, maybe they're running some wind sprints today or tomorrow because of always just pulling up and shooting a three-pointer, even though it stunk. So they're going to work on some stuff, maybe get it in, inside a little bit more, and we'll move on from there. So I look forward to watching their next game this time around. Next time they play, I will watch it from start to finish because it's good, man. It's drama. It is like a cop show on TV, right? It's like you have I can't explain it. It's something weird, I feel, but I will be watching the entire Michigan State basketball game next time they take the floor.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I mean, the Sparties for me, I mean, when I watch them, they just need to give the ball to Christie. I mean, that guy, Max Christie's something else. I think that guy is he is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, at the half, Wisconsin was up 29-23, but Christie for me is the guy that definitely stirs the drink. I mean, last night he only had 8 points. He was 3 of 8 shooting. I mean, they need to get the ball more to Max. I mean, Hauser had 10 attempts last night. He was 3 of 10. From the three-point line, as you mentioned, they were 3 of 4. They were 3 of 14, 21% from there. But I mean, you got to give Max the ball. Max is the guy that I feel needs to assert himself as that offensive leader for the Sparties. But Beastie, of course, we got your favorite sport. We are getting back into the roll with hockey here. We know kind of started out slow with a few games, but we got 6 games here tonight. We got a Red Wings game playing LA. So what are your thoughts here on some hockey tonight, Beastie? I got my pen ready for some line combos, and if you want to throw anything extra here about the Red Wings, have at it. But it looks like we got the Wings actually playing Philly.
Playing Philadelphia, yeah.
But what do you think here about the 6-game slate, Beastie?
No worries. I mean, again, 6 games. I don't care if it was 1 game. This is what it's about. When you look at this, from first puck drop, or however you want to put it, is at 7 p.m. There's 6 games, and now at least in DFS formats, I know FD, I'll call it FanDuel, don't want any copyright infringement here, but even DK, they've split it up in between 4 slates. So at 7 p.m., you have 6 games. 8 p.m., they have an express slate, only 2 games. At 9:30 p.m., they have an express slate 2 with only 2 games, and then boom, after hours right at 10 o'clock, 2 games. So I only tell folks what I do, how I play. I'm not trying to, be somebody else or go down a lane that's not mine. So again, I've said this for years, even before I was broadcasting all my notes here. I like the smaller slates. Some folks, they can't stand small 2-game slates, even 3-game slates. They just don't like it. They would prefer a massive 10-game main slate. But to me, I'm going to move all my chips in again from last night and just break down all 3 of these slates, all the 2-game slates here when we're moving down. So when we look at the main slate, I'll start with the Red Wings here. As you said, Detroit goes to Philadelphia to take on the Flyers here. We know what the Red Wings have been about. They're up, they're down, but that's fine. It's not like they've put together a collection of kids on the ice to go for the Stanley Cup this year. It's all live and learn. No matter what the situation is, if they lose by 5 goals or they win by 5 goals, the same mentality applies. And that's what I love about the direction and the long-term outlook of Stevie Yzerman's team here in a collaboration with Nick Lindstrom, and we move on from there. So you look at the money line, it's Philadelphia minus 110. Over under is at about 6 goals here. Personally, I think the Wings do eke this one out. I would take the under in this one. I think the Wings put up 3 goals in comparison to the Flyers 2 goals. So they'll win 3-2. You can take the under in this one. And I would imagine the Wings, they're probably the money line at least, is plus money if they are in fact the underdog in this one. When you look at the Wings, it's all about Larkin. It's all about that first line here. One thing I'm going to be paying close attention to is this Philip Zadino kid. This kid's been up and down, up and down. He was supposed to be, this is from my own mind here. I have no stats in front of me, but this kid was supposed to be like the next up-and-coming young stud. He's just gone back and forth from their affiliate here, the Grand Rapids Griffins. Then he comes back up, and every time they call this kid up, the local news here goes nuts for good, for good behavior, right? This kid, is this going to be the time he puts it together here? And it just keeps going back and forth here. So I'm going to keep a close eye on Zdeno here and see what we got going on. When we look at the rest of the slate in this one, as I said, 6 games. You can go down the list here. I would prefer, looking at my notes, which I can always share a picture of. I rarely do that, although I do take them here. I love the idea of Edmonton 1. I know what you're going to say. Well, Edmonton 1, that's like easy pickings here. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. They're hosting the Chicago Blackhawks in this one. Chicago's been up and down, mainly down. And again, I dislike the Chicago Blackhawks, so if they want to stay down, have at it here. But there's something calling me here with both Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. They are unbelievably expensive. For the first time that I can ever remember, there is somebody that's more expensively priced on the slate than Connor McDavid here. Connor McDavid, $10,100 on FanDuel, and his line mate, second line guy, first power play guy, Leon Draisaitl, he's $10,200. So you got to kind of have to slice it down here. So of the two, I would prefer Connor McDavid, and then even Evander Kane. We know what he's about, the Sharks. He's had some off the ice issues with an ex-girlfriend or an ex-wife, allegedly. Don't want any lawsuit in this one. And then Kyler Yamamoto, first line, and he's kind of not in a power play unit, but I think Yamamoto skates on the second power play one. So that's easy pickings. That's easy peasy. That's a cash game. And even if you want to throw it in a GPP, I also love Nashville really quick here. And when we look at Nashville, they're playing in Dallas this evening. Dallas is the underdog, -1.5. Money line is all on the Nashville Predators here, but I love their first line here. And this one is Mikael Granlund. No D in that one. Granlund here. First line, first power play unit. Philip Forsberg and also Matt Duchene. And when you look at Matt Duchene and Michael Granlund, both guys kind of center that first line, and then they move them out. And it seems to be, last I checked, after the morning skate here, Granlund is going to center the first line, and then Duchene and Forsberg are going to fall back in that first line, right wing, left wing here. They're very cheaply priced. Granlund, $5,100. Forsberg, a little high, $8,700 on FanDuel at least, and then Duchene, $7,300 here. I've always loved to stack the Dallas Stars, but that's just not the day for that. I think Nashville hangs 4 goals in comparison to Dallas's maybe 1 and 2 here. But my favorite game of the night here, let me double check what time that puck drop is here, and it is the Vegas Golden Knights go to Calgary to take on the Flames here. This one, over under, I believe, is at 6.5 goals. I would even be comfortable taking the over if it was 7 goals in this one. When we look at the Golden Knights here, they're on the road to Canada. They take on the Calgary Flames, as I said, 9:30 p.m. Eastern here. And when you look at this one, Golden Knights come into this game a record of 27-16-3, and they've won 3 out of their last 4 games. Also going back to, they beat Buffalo here. When it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights, they were on fire yesterday. They were part of my after hours slate where they won me a couple bucks. Chandler Stevenson and Mark Stone and even Max Pacioretty. We know him from his, I believe, Montreal Canadiens fame back then. So I'm going right back to that one tonight with the Vegas Golden Knights first line. As I said, Stevenson, Max Pacioretty, and Mark Stone. On the Calgary side of things here, when I build my stacks here, Vegas 1 would go together with Calgary 2, because both first lines can't make it happen with their money. So I would go Vegas 1 and Calgary second line. Michael Backlund, Blake Coleman, even a little, his name is Dylan Dubé. He's only $3,600 here. So you can go back and forth. Vegas 1, Calgary 2, or Calgary 1, Vegas 2. You see how I mixed and matched there. So that's what I have in a nutshell. It's going to be an outstanding night of hockey. And one more thing I will say, after all those stacks, I like the Vancouver Canucks just as much as everybody on the slate, and I'll tell you why. They're at home, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. They're all the way in Vancouver, above Oregon, over by Seattle there. The New York Islanders come to town, and they're from, we know what the Islanders are. They're way East Coast here, and Vancouver played last night, and they looked very good. Bo Horvath, JT Miller, and even Brock Boeser. These guys were all around the ice. I believe Miller and Boeser scored a goal, and Bo Horvath had about 2 assists in this one. So I love everything about the Vancouver Canucks tonight. first line, second line, any way you want to stack it. Their second line fits beautifully with Vegas's first line. Vancouver's second line fits beautifully with Calgary Flames first line. So I've given you a couple lines, and what I do is I write them out, right? Nashville 1, Vancouver 1, and then I dash it and I write my next stack there, and then I just move it around. I've always said this, when you're playing DFS in a big contest like this, it's all about moving the puzzle pieces around. And after hours, only 2 games, it's even easier to write down your puzzle pieces and move them around here. So I wish everybody the luck, and that's what I'm looking here tonight. And of course, I have several best bets here, but I'll tease those to the end of the show. I'm getting a hang of this broadcasting thing, I think, Scott.
Yeah, I think we both are there, buddy. I mean, it was clear. I mean, we didn't have too much of the broadcasting experience when we started, but I mean, hey, it's just me and you talking there, buddy. I mean, well, like we said, there's nothing else hard. It's not like we have it that tough to where, just talking sports is obviously a lot of fun. But before we get there too far, BC and I get into the NBA, I just want to give a shout out to our other sponsor of the show, and that is the Jars Cannabis Company. ShopJarsCannabis.com. They offer pickup and in-store shopping, Michigan's largest variety for any lifestyle needs. Jars Cannabis is a medical and recreational retailer located throughout Michigan, Lansing, Detroit, Flint, Grand Rapids, and more. And hey, if you mention Woodward Sports in the Bet Show, you get 20% off your order there at any Jars location. So enjoy a little pre-roll or maybe a little bag of gummies on us for being a loyal listener. But Beastie, of course, we got some NBA action here tonight. I was looking at a little bit of college basketball, so maybe here at the end of the show, I maybe have a couple best bets. But in the NBA, no Pistons here tonight, but we do have 6 games. And of course, as we always mention, keep your ear to the ground. Guys that potentially could be out. I'll just roll through a couple here. Some of the bigger names. Garland may be out tonight. Trey Jones, Lonnie Walker for the Spurs. Looney may be out for the Warriors. And then we're going to have to watch Rudy Gay for the Jazz. On the second half of a back-to-back, the Lakers are on the second half back-to-back after getting their butts kicked by Milwaukee last night. So going to have to watch some of those guys. Portland is on a second half of back-to-back. And then they were involved in a trade yesterday with McCollum, Nance, and Snell. So these guys obviously weren't available last night. We'll see if they're available tonight. But it's also floating around Josh Hart might be on the move there. But, I mean, there's going to be some value there that we might be able to look at. Of course, there'll be some value with Charlotte tonight. The Timberwolves and Kings are also on a second half of a back-to-back. So you're going to have to kind of watch some of these guys, especially the Kings also involved in that trade with Halliburton, Hield, and Tristan Thompson for Sabonis, Lamb, and Holiday. So we'll have to keep an eye out to see who's going to be in for there as well. But obviously looking around here today, Beastie, it looks like Charlotte is a place for some value. We got LaMelo Ball, 8,400, Rozier, 6,400, Miles Bridges is another guy. PJ Washington is a guy that you might want to look at. Maybe a little Karl Anthony Towns or Nurkic at center. Steph Curry is a guy that maybe you want to pay up for if you want to have a little bit more of a stars and scrubs type approach. Evan Mobley is a guy too that's popping on quite a few optimizers here today. But as far as any kind of bets go, Beastie, I got a couple. I mean, just kind of looking here, Chicago's defense has been just absolutely horrible here recently. So I'll be looking there. That's got a pretty high over under 236. And then we got this Minnesota-Sacramento game at 234. Some of the other ones are all in the 220s. That Toronto OKC game is at 204. So obviously going to want to focus on some of these games with the higher over-unders. But Beastie, I got a couple plays in the NBA we'll get to here when we get to our best bets. I feel pretty good about. But is there anything here before we get to best bets you want to mention on this Wednesday? Maybe anything we forgot, anything important we want to mention,
Sure.
or I got any words of wisdom from Beastie that we can pass on?
I would keep us here for 2 hours. It might be a lot of hot air, but at least I'd get something off my chest here. But when you look at the NBA here, the first thing that actually 2 teams are standing out to me big time, and it's the Charlotte Hornets, as you said, and then even the Utah Jazz. Charlotte is at home against the Chicago Bulls here, and then Utah is at home as well against Golden State. When you go down the list here, the DVP, defense versus player, Charlotte is in favorable spots across the court here. When you look look at Terry Rose, shooting guard, point guard, even, Miles Bridges, same thing. Charlotte playing against the Chicago Bulls. And then again, as I said, the Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's been in and out of the lineup, some sort of lower body thing, but he's going to be back active. You're looking at 25, 26 minutes, probably a little bit more here. So to me, I would have no issue making one lineup about both of these games, a ton of Charlotte Hornets and a ton of Utah Jazz kids in this one. And when you look at that one from an overall over-under perspective, again, Utah hosting the Golden State Warriors, that game is at 10 p.m. Actually, there's 3 games at 10 p.m., one at 7:30, and then 8 p.m. here. So I love the idea of stacking up the Charlotte Hornets. Tip-off is at 7:30 in Charlotte, and half your lineup is those guys. And then boom, right when 10 p.m. rolls around, we're sitting at middle or maybe even bottom of the barrel here with our DFS lines. And then boom, you get Utah coming in with what was I saying? Yeah, Jarrett Allen, Karis LeVert, maybe even Garland, as you said as well. So, excuse me, that's the Cleveland team. Excuse me. So when you get Utah, what I say, Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, maybe even a little bit, and even Royce O'Neal. We remember him from being an Indiana Pacer here. So I'm looking a lot at the Charlotte Hornets and the Utah Jazz in this one, and we'll see what we get. Again, when you play DFS like this and you stack up lines or team combos, it's all about taking those shots, and sometimes it's like a slot machine. They hit or they don't. Here tonight, I have a good feeling about Charlotte and the Utah Jazz, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times for me, it's hitting them low-price guys. You hit them low-price guys, usually the higher-price big-name guys usually come through for you. It's just nailing those 4,900, 3,000, 4,000 price guys. And sometimes, Beastie, a good trick is if you think a game's going to be blowout, maybe you play a bench guy. Maybe he gets a lot of run and nobody plays him. I've seen that get guys to the top of tournaments. But either way, NBA, I mean, especially now with the trade deadline, we're going to have that tomorrow. So that'll be interesting. Should be a lot of different moving pieces here in the NBA. But Beastie, we're getting here to that time of the show here for our best bets, but I'm going to let you go first. I'm sure you'll probably have some hockey wisdom for us, but I got a couple NBA and a couple college bets, but go ahead. What do you got here for tonight?
Awesome. First one I want to point to, as I said, the Vancouver Canucks late tonight are hosting the Islanders in this one. An initial reaction, even last night into this morning, the over-under was at 4.5 goals. I'm not kidding. I can't remember the last time I saw a professional hockey game that was over-under 4.5. So I already booked the over in that one, and come to find out at this moment in time, right before lock here, it's been bumped up to 5 goals. I'm taking the over in that one all day. I think Vancouver wins this one 4-1, 5-1, something along those lines. So add that in with the Nashville Predators plus money, Nashville plus 100 in this one. As you can see, Nashville is in Dallas. As I said, Nashville, I think they win 4-2. So Nashville 100, Vancouver Islanders over the 4.5 or 5 goals, and then Calgary in this one. Calgary money line or Calgary minus $1.40 in this one. I have Calgary winning about 4-3. So if there's any game on the slate I would feel comfortable stacking from start to finish, it's Vegas and Calgary. And then if you want to sweeten the pot a little bit, as I said, Detroit is playing in Philadelphia tonight. I will go under the 6 goals. I think that the Red Wings win this one, but it's a low scoring game, a modest 3-1, 3-2, something along those lines. So Detroit, Philly under, Nashville plus 100, Calgary minus 140, and then Vancouver hosting the Islanders over the 4.5 or 5 goals.
Sounds good. I like it. I will say, for one thing, in that Philadelphia, man, Philadelphia's lost like 8 out of 10. They've just been awful here. So hopefully the Red Wings can put one on those Flyers here. But for me, Beastie, tonight, I do have one game in the NBA I like tonight, and that is the over in that Bulls and Charlotte game. But I'll tell you what, the Bulls have just been playing some terrible defense lately. They've been averaging 6 or 7 more points here in the last few weeks than they have. Due to a few injuries here. But I just like the over in this one. I think Charlotte's going to play pretty quick. So the pace of play in this game should be pretty high. And then as far as some college basketball, I got 2 that I like. The first one is Georgetown getting 8 against DePaul. I just think that's just a little bit too high for DePaul to be able to handle the Georgetown Hoyas. And then the other one I have Seton Hall minus 3.5 against Xavier. So I got two teams there in college I'm going for. So that is Seton Hall minus the 3.5. I'm going with Georgetown plus the 8, and then I'm going to go with the over in this Charlotte game. But Beastie, before we get too far, I want to give one last shout out to our sponsor of the show, and that is at Better Rate Mortgage. Better Rate Mortgage, family is more than blood. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate. Visit mybetterrate.com or call 248-480-4467 today. So, Beastie, getting close to the end here. You got anything you want to say before we get out of here and wrap this up? And then we'll be able to watch some of our games here tonight. No really local teams, but we can still have some fun and place us a few wagers here tonight. But what do you got here for the people before we get out of here?
Absolutely. I've said it all week, so I'll say it one more time. Let's stop and smell the roses here because the Super Bowl is on Sunday. And in a week, even a week or two after Super Bowl Sunday, folks are going to be upset all over social media. I wish I had football. I wish I just stop and take it in. We're on the fast track to the Super Bowl. So we have football coming up very soon. So just don't take it for granted. Be in peace and make sure if you have any ideas of bets or DFS lines, write it down, pen and paper, old tried and true pen and paper. You can't go wrong when you take notes, at least how I live.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I take a lot of notes too, but my notes aren't as organized as you, and you got them all organized. My notes are just, on paper, and then I stack them all up and go back, and then I look. You got it all. Look at you, tabbed out, everything else. I mean, that's how you do it. I mean, you're organized. I mean, in baseball, that stuff does come in handy when you hear about little tidbits about certain players, maybe things they don't like to hit in certain stadiums, stuff like that. I like to write notes down like that, usually write it on a team notepad. But yeah, always use your notes. I mean, there's so many different betting situations you see as a sports bettor as long as you go on that you come across that same situation. You say, no, I've been burned by that before. It was like Auburn last night in college basketball was -1. Everybody's thinking, oh, they're only playing Arkansas. It's -1. They should whoop their ass. And what happened? They end up losing. Everybody, it just looks too good to be true. It's not good. Yeah, you're going to end up paying the piper, as we say. But BC, you're right. We got some Super Bowl here we're going to break down, as we said before. Give your friends a call, maybe touch base with a relative you haven't talked to in a while. That's always good. But looks like Spencer's trying to get us out of here. But for Spencer behind the glass, for Detroit Beastie, that is going to do it here for the Bet Show. We appreciate you listening, and we're going to catch you tomorrow. Thanks.